A 21-year-old kid from a Caribbean island with barely 70,000 people on it just walked into Hayward Field and broke a record that had survived for 19 years. And he did it after racing twice already that same night on legs that should not have had anything left to give. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why what he just did might be more terrifying for the rest of the world than anyone is currently admitting. Before we dive into this, if you love stories about athletes coming out of nowhere to rewrite the record books, hit that subscribe button right now, because this is one of the most insane individual performances track and field has seen in years. And there's a number coming up later in this video that's going to put everything into perspective in a way you won't see coming. Let's go straight to the moment that changed everything. June 12th, 2026, Night 3 of the NCAA Division I Outdoor Track and Field Championships at the legendary Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon. Jaden Reed, a junior at LSU, steps into blocks for the men's 200-meter final. He'd already posted the fastest qualifying time of the week at 20.05 seconds, so people knew he was good. What nobody in that stadium was prepared for, not the crowd, not the broadcasters, not even Reed himself, was what was about to happen. He came off the curve and exploded down the straightaway, and when he crossed the line, the clock read 19.63 seconds. Wind legal, completely clean, no asterisk next to it, no excuse needed. That single number did three things in one moment. It gave him his first NCAA Outdoor National title. It made him the fastest 200-meter sprinter in the history of college track and field. And it made him the fastest man in the entire world at that event for that point in the season. Now here's why that number is so much bigger than it sounds. The record Reed just broke had survived for 19 years. 19 years. It was set by Walter Dix of Florida State all the way back in 2007 at 19.69 seconds. And Dix wasn't some random college runner who got lucky. He went on to win Olympic bronze medals and World Championship silver medals. He was one of the best sprinters alive at the time, and his record outlasted nearly 2 decades of elite college talent trying to take it down. Generation after generation of fast college sprinters came close and walked away empty-handed. Jaden Reed didn't just touch that record. He erased 600ths of a second off it like it was nothing. After the race, Reed was honest about how unexpected this actually was for him. He said his only plan going in was to execute, and that he knew if he executed properly, it would be a good day. But he openly admitted he was not expecting a time like that. He said in his head he was thinking maybe 19.9, maybe a 20.1, the kind of time he'd run at regionals. When the actual number came up on the board, all he could do was say a quiet thank you to God. That's the kind of reaction that only happens when an athlete runs faster than they genuinely believe their own body was capable of. And here's where it gets even more unbelievable. So stay with me, because this next part is the piece that turns a great performance into something almost impossible to explain. Reed did not walk into that 200-meter final fresh. Earlier that same night, he had already run the 100-meter final, crossing in 9.82 seconds, finishing right behind Nigeria's Unity Onwuzurike. Just to be clear, a 9.82 is a world-class time on its own. For most sprinters, that would be the highlight of their entire season. For Reed, it was just the appetizer. Before that, earlier in the meet, he'd also run a leg on LSU's 4x100 relay team alongside Jeremiah Walker, Shaky McKee, and Joshua Caleb, helping them finish second with a season-best time. So by the time Reed stepped into the blocks for that 200-meter final, his legs had already absorbed an entire night of maximum effort sprinting, plus preliminary rounds earlier in the week. He said it himself afterward. If he had only run the 200 that night and nothing else, he probably would have gone even faster. He said the 100 and the relay took a real toll on his body, especially having to do it more than once in the same week. And he still ran 19.63 on tired legs after a full night of racing. That's not just fast. That's the kind of performance that makes coaches and scouts around the world stop what they're doing and pay very, very close attention. And if a fatigued Jaden Reed can run that, you have to ask yourself what a fully rested Jaden Reed looks like. And we're going to get to that question later. So don't go anywhere. To really understand how a moment like this happens, you have to go back to where Jaden Reed actually came from, because this story does not start at LSU. Reed was born on April 10, 2005, in the Cayman Islands, a British overseas territory in the Caribbean, with a population of roughly 70,000 people. This is not a place known for producing elite global sprinters. By the time Reed was just 14 years old, he was already clearly the fastest kid his age across the islands, holding the Caymanian junior record in the 100 meters. But he knew early on that staying home would cap his ceiling. So he made a decision that most 14-year-olds never have to make. He left. He flew about an hour away to Jamaica and enrolled at Jamaica College in Kingston. If you know track and field at all, you know exactly what that name means. Jamaica College is a sprinting factory, a school that produces elite athletes year after year. It competes in champs, widely regarded as the most intense high school track meet in the entire Caribbean. Training in that environment, surrounded by that level of competition every single day, shaped Reed in ways that simply would not have been possible back home. While at Jamaica College, he was part of the team that won the Championship of America by 100 relay at the 2023 Penn Relays in Philadelphia, one of the most historic track meets in the world. He also competed at the 2022 World Under-20 Championships in Cali, Colombia, in the 200 meters. The resume was building, and it caught the attention of one of the biggest sprint programs in American college athletics. LSU came calling, and Reed said yes immediately because he had dreamed of wearing the purple and gold. This is a school that has produced legends like Sha'Carri Richardson and Nathaniel Mitchell-Blake, under a head coach, Dennis Shaver, who has built one of the most respected sprint programs in the country. Reed signed his letter of intent and moved to Baton Rouge, and he said something afterward that really tells you who he is as an athlete. He said he likes carrying the weight of his entire country on his back. He said holding the Cayman Islands 200-meter record pushes him to work even harder because he wants to put his country on the map for the entire world to see. But here's the part of the story that almost nobody talks about, and it's the part that makes everything that happened at Hayward Field even more remarkable. Reed's path to that 19.63 was nowhere close to a straight line. His freshman year at LSU nearly fell apart before it even started. In the fall of 2023, he suffered a left hamstring injury that kept him out of competition for almost 5 months, wiping out nearly his entire indoor season. And if you understand sprinting at all, you know a hamstring injury is not just a physical setback. It gets into your head. Every single time you try to open up your stride and run at full speed again, there's a voice in the back of your mind asking if it's about to happen all over again. When he finally returned to competition in March 2024 in Coral Gables, Florida, he was physically cleared, but the mental doubt was still very much alive underneath the surface. He ran through it anyway, and from that exact point forward, something clicked. The progress became steady and relentless. He started breaking Cayman Islands national records over and over in the 200 meters. By May 2024, he set a new national record at 20.51. By early 2025, he had dropped it to 20.46 and then 20.27 at the SEC Indoor Championship, a mark that ranked as the fourth fastest indoor 200 ever run by a Caribbean man at that point in history. By May 2025, he ran 20.43 at the SEC Outdoor Championships, which qualified him for the 2025 World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. Every single season, the time dropped. Every single season, he edged closer to something historic without anyone fully realizing it yet. And then, on June 12, 2026, in front of a packed crowd at Hayward Field, every piece of that journey collided in one single race. Now, let's actually put that 19.63 into global perspective, because this is a number I promised you earlier, and it's going to change how you see this entire moment. Usain Bolt's world record in the 200 meters, the fastest anyone has ever run this event in human history, is 19.19 seconds, set back in 2009. At the 2024 Paris Olympics, Noah Lyles won Olympic gold in this exact event with a time of 19.70. Read that again. Jaden Reed, a college junior, running on fatigued legs, after already racing twice that same night, ran 19.63. That is faster than what won Olympic gold in Paris. Faster than the gold medal time on the biggest stage in the entire sport. Reed didn't run that on a fresh body in ideal conditions built around one single race. He ran it as the third event of his night. So here's the question this leaves hanging in the air, and it's the reason people in this sport are suddenly paying very close attention to a kid from a 70,000 person island most people couldn't find on a map a year ago. If a tired, fatigued Jaden Reed can run a time that would have medaled at the Olympics, what does a fully rested, fully prepared Jaden Reed look like on a global stage with no relay and number 100-meter final beforehand draining his legs first? Pro agents are already watching. National federations are already watching. International meet directors are already watching. This is no longer a story about a good college sprinter having a great night. This is the opening chapter of something much bigger. And the only real question left is how fast this kid is going to go once the entire world is finally watching him at full strength. Make sure you're subscribed, because when that day comes, you're going to be here for it.